Hi everyone, and I'm back, Teacher Lean again, coming here from camglish.com. And of course, today we'll be having our new lesson topic, still about business, to help you in dealing with different kinds of situations related to business. It is communicating in business book. Okay, so from our previous video, we simply answered the exercises under the topic Could I Leave a Message? Unit number 3. So we are done with that. Let's now open or introduce our next topic. Alright, it's number 4. Good to hear from you again. Okay, so good to hear from you again. It's like you met or you talked to a friend again after such a long time without talking or hearing with each other. Okay, of course it's nice. We can say, or this is an expression that we say, it's good to hear from you again after such a long or quite a long time. And in this, you expect we are still going to talk about cross-cultural communication on the telephone one, and setting up appointments, changing appointments, ending a call. That's all we are going to learn in this topic. So first, cross-cultural communication on the telephone number 1. So it's through, of course, the telephone. It's like knowing the culture through communicating on the telephone. So as you can see, we have the pictures. Can you describe what is happening for each picture? The first one, the second one, and the third one. Okay, so you may also make your own dialogues for each picture since we don't have the listening or the recording. Okay, so that's great. Now let's move on to another one. So for our next activity, we are going to read a text. This one, a text. Oh, it's quite long, right? Okay, but before that, let's read the questions. So while you are reading it, you're actually getting the informations or the important things that you need to get. Letter A, you have to answer what it is about. Letter B, what the message of the cartoon on the next page is, and what you think the next probably recommends. Now let's read the text below. Okay? And then later on, you'll mark sentences that follow as true or false. So this is the title. It's Barriers to Oral Communications, or the things that block the way to a good oral communication, right? So there could be a lot of things, right? Alright, like poor connection, of course the medium or the language, and all. So follow me as I read the text. Oral communication usually presents more problems than written communication. If you've ever studied another language, you know it's easier to write in that language than to conduct a conversation. Even if the other speaks your language, you may have a hard time understanding the pronunciation if the person isn't proficient. For example, many non-native English speakers can distinguish between the English sounds V and W, so they say very for very. At the same time, many people from the United States cannot pronounce the French R or the German CH. Alright, so what did you get or understand from the first one? Okay, so it's about the pronunciation. It focuses on that. Okay. Next, let's continue. Also, people use their voices in different ways, which can lead listeners to misunderstand their intentions. Russian speakers, for instance, speak in flat, level tones in their native tongue. When they speak English, they maintain this pattern, and non-Russian listeners may assume that the speakers are bored or rude. Middle Easterners tend to speak more loudly than Westerners and may therefore mistakenly be considered more emotional. On the other hand, the Japanese are soft spoken, a characteristic that implies politeness or humility to Western listeners. So, for the second one, it simply talks about the tone or how each country's sound towards other, alright, and how it's being interpreted. Okay, and we have the idiomatic expressions are another source of confusion. If a US executive tells an Egyptian executive that a certain product doesn't cut the mustard, chances are communication will fail. Even when the words make sense, their meanings may differ according to the situation. For example, suppose you are dining with a German woman who speaks English quite well. You inquire, "More bread?" She says, "Thank you." So you pass the bread. She looks confused. Then she takes the bread basket, and sets it down without taking any. In German, thank you can also be used as a polite refusal. If the woman had wanted more bread, she would have used the word please. Okay, and when speaking in English to people who speak English as a second language, you may find these guidelines helpful. Alright, so it says about the different expressions and words that each country or culture has. Alright, so let's proceed to the tips. But before that, you may give your own opinions about each paragraph. What do you think? Oh, okay. So we have number 1, try to eliminate noise. Number 2, look for feedback. Number 3, rephrase your sentence when necessary. Number 4, don't talk down to the other person. Number 5, use objective, accurate language. Last, we have let other people finish when they have to say. Alright, so I think that would be enough for today. I hope those tips really help a lot for you to know how to have a good oral communication. Alright, and we'll have more of this topic on our next video. That's it for now. I'll have to say goodbye and I'll see you again.